Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The Taliban have declared an amnesty across Afghanistan and urged women to join their government, seeking to convince a highly sceptical population that they have changed. Following a blitz across Afghanistan that saw many cities fall to the insurgents without a fight, the Taliban have sought to portray themselves as more moderate than when they imposed a brutal rule in the late 90s.
But as you see, the Taliban has captured this place also.
The group set up checkpoints on congested roads near the presidential palace and the international airport as thousands of civilians attempted to flee the capital on a flight. A female broadcast journalist, Behesta Argand, spoke to a Taliban spokesman live on TV in what's being seen as an attempt by the group to calm fears among women in the country.
How many more lives, American lives, is it worth?
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden has said he stands squarely behind the US exit from Afghanistan as he faces criticism. He said that despite the controversial withdrawal, there was never a perfect time to exit the country. Medical teams and aid workers in Haiti have been racing against time to provide food and shelter as a tropical storm hits the island. The official death toll rose to over 1,400 and at least 6,900 were injured by the 7.2 magnitude quake. Images show doctors battling to save the lives of hundreds of people, both young and old, in makeshift hospital tents. Search and rescue teams have been arriving from the United States and Chile. 2 senior commanders have admitted their security forces under the control detained and later killed 25 men in June in a territory near Myanmar's border with Thailand. A general and a lieutenant from the Karen National Defense Organization have been suspended from their posts. They denied any wrongdoing, saying the men, who were not armed and not in uniform, were spies for the military and that the troops had to finish them up, otherwise they would try to run away. A series of wildfires are continuing to spread across a number of countries in Europe and Asia. Spanish authorities have evacuated nearly 1,000 people from their homes to protect them from a wildfire that has destroyed at least 12,000 hectares of land in the province of Avila, a rural area about 120 kilometers west of Madrid. Russia is also struggling to contain vast fires across Siberia, as almost 10 million acres are currently burning, with one fire alone scorching an area as wide as 2.5 million acres. New Zealand has announced a snap lockdown after a man tested positive for COVID, the first case in 6 months.
We only get one chance.
The case was detected in Auckland, which will be in lockdown for a week, while the rest of the country will be only for 3 days. Authorities say they are working on the assumption that the new case was the Delta variant. The last reported community case in the country was in February. The US singer-songwriter Bob Dylan is being sued by a woman who says he sexually abused her in 1965 when she was 12 years old. In a civil lawsuit filed with the New York Supreme Court, the woman, identified only as JC, said Dylan sexually abused her at his New York apartment over a 6-week period, leaving her emotionally scarred and psychologically damaged to this day. A spokesman for Dylan said the allegations were false. A large gas explosion in a residential building has killed at least one person and left dozens injured in Mexico City. Rescuers and police officers evacuated residents due to the structural damage caused by the blast and as a precautionary measure to nearby buildings. The source of the gas leak was not immediately clear, but the Mexico City prosecutor's office is investigating along with experts. Ivory Coast has begun a vaccination program against Ebola after the country confirmed its first case since 1994. An 18-year-old woman tested positive on Saturday after travelling by bus to Abidjan from neighbouring Guinea. Workers at the hospital in the city where the woman was admitted were the first to receive vaccinations. The country has 5,000 doses available. And finally, rafts built only from recyclable materials have sailed, or tried to sail, on the Danube in a unique race. Under the rules, the 16 vessels, piloted by Hungarian teams, could not be made using boats, kayaks or canoes, or any materials that damage the environment. A local winemaker and his team even built a bar terrace and had a bottle of wine on board as they pedalled downstream. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.